Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. I'm going to be looking at another Airfix kit today. This is the 1966 issue of Airfix's F-4B Phantom 2. It's kit number 1413-100, and it's actually an Airfix by Craftmaster, which was the mid to late 60s importing of Airfix kits into the United States. So the kit number with the dash 100 represents this was a $1 suggested retail price kit. It's in 1/72 scale, as is indicated on the box here, as part of their constant scale series that Airfix was becoming famous for. We've got a box art done by Roy Cross, and this was originally issued by Airfix in the UK in 1965. So the Airfix's initial forays into the United States, it's kind of a little cloudy. There's not a lot of really solid, hard information on it, but from what I'm able to gather, they first tried from 63 to 66 by developing Airfix Corporation of America, and the kits were possibly being molded by MPC at the time. That venture folded up, and then they ended up partnering in 66 with Craftmaster. And Craftmaster was a maker of crafts, and they were mainly known for their paint-by-number kits. And they, at the time, in 66, had about a 20% ownership of MPC. So you can kind of see where this relationship's kind of going around in circles a little bit there. So Airfix partners with Craftmaster, which is why they got the logos on here. The kits were still being made by MPC and then boxed this way. So then Craftmaster themselves ends up getting purchased by General Mills in 67, and then eventually General Mills then buys MPC as well in 68. And that's about the time that the partnership between Airfix, Craftmaster, MPC kind of dissolves in that relationship. And then in 69, MPC starts boxing Airfix kits under their own MPC label. So that's the best that I can kind of figure this out. The specifics are a little cloudy, but some of this information came from Paul Adams down in New Zealand. He's been very helpful in providing some additional information on a lot of the different kits that you've seen on here. So credits to Paul for some of that extra info. Appreciate it a lot. So let's take a look at what we got with the kit itself here. So as I mentioned, we've got this great box art on the cover from Roy Cross. A couple of Phantoms sitting on a carrier deck. Perspective's a little off on some of these things. Some of these guys might be getting blasted by some jet blast, it looks like. But, it kind of captures the, carrier decks, action and, of a launch and whatnot. So, kind of a neat box art to kind of draw you into it. We've got the Airfix logo on here, kind of a revision of the red stripe that you saw on the kits, regular Airfix kits of this time period itself. 72nd scale, and of course the Craftmaster name. On the side here, we've got a repeat of the box art on here, and then information about the Phantom itself. On this side here, we've got Airfix made and lithoed in the U.S., and images of some of their other kits that were available. At the end, we've got our kit number. Again, the dash 100 represents a $1 suggested retail price. And same thing on this end. This is a directly printed onto cardboard on a folded box. And here we have our instructions. And this kind of looks familiar for people who've seen a lot of Airfix kits from this time period. Then we've got our Craftmaster logo over here. And some more information about the aircraft. Looks like pretty similar to what's on the side of the box. And then your initial assembly steps. A little bit of cockpit in there, but not much. Putting on your wings and canopies. It is separate parts on there, so I guess you could probably, it looks like maybe put the canopies in the up position. And then painting guide for your color scheme. And then here is your Airfix division of MPC. So if you've got your parts missing, this is where you're supposed to send it into. So that shows kind of the tie in with MPC there. So there is your instructions. And then here we have our decals, which have the little kind of wax paper covering on it. And as you can see, they've yellowed pretty good over the years. Color for the insignia is a little light for a blue color. And but registration looks okay. With some pretty sharp looking markings for this aircraft. So the serial number that's on here matches up to a real aircraft. And that aircraft is originally was an F-4H1 Phantom II. It was manufacturer build number 66, and its bureau number 148381. It was built in 1961. The F-4H1 in 1962, with the unified designation system, became F-4B-6MC. And it was assigned to VF-74, the Bedevilers, which is what these markings are here. And it was the first operational squadron to do an operational cruise with the F-4 Phantom on the USS Forrestal. And they were assigned to Carrier Air Group 8, so CVG 8. And the Forrestal was a CVA 69. And on that cruise, when it came back from the Mediterranean, on July 1762, as the air group was being put ashore to shore base at NAS Oceana, this particular aircraft had control loss due to rudder control linkage coming loose from the rudder actuator, and the aircraft ended up going down. Both crew ejected, and no lives were lost. So that is what happened to this particular aircraft. But this bureau number actually is not 101, but actually 104. So I was able to locate a very nice photograph of this bureau numbered aircraft, and we'll show that to you here. Okay, so let's take a look at our plastic. Here's our fuselage, and it's molded in white. We've got some raised fine lines for panel lining. A little bit of rivet detail here and there. A lot of sinkholes where the connector pins are on the top of the fuselage spine here, and on the nose up here. We do have some of the antennas molded on here. The tail is completely split. And we've got the one-piece movable tail. It's got this kind of large hole here for the parts that they give you to do that. And it's interesting that they've got both parts of this probe here molded on each half, so it makes for kind of an odd fit of those two parts. Not much as far as detail on the nose wheel well. That spot for the hook right there looks like it may be movable. But there you can kind of see these probe parts here just don't quite line up very well on there. fact, the tail itself doesn't line up very well. Fit, I probably have to trim some stuff here, but fit looks okay. About typical 60s Airfix style. So there's your fuselage. Nothing on the insides. Here's our upper wing parts. And we've got pretty deep lines for the flaperons, I guess. Leading edge slats. Some flash around the edges. This would definitely need some good cleanup. And nothing as far as interior detail on the main gear. And here's the other part of the lower wing. And this sprue, which is a nice big thick piece there. Here's our tail surfaces. Again, fairly fine detail, or fine raised lines on there. Here's our under surfaces. Space for the Sparrow missiles. And here you have your interior parts, again very limited. Your splitter, intake, some flash in there. Here's your tail hook, pylons for the drop tanks, it looks like. And then here's our Sparrows. You get 6 Sparrows, so I guess 2 of those could get mounted on these wing racks here. Yeah, because the 2 of them have full set of fins. The ones that go into the fuselage don't have all their fins. So there's your Sparrow. A lot of ejector pin marks on the sides of that. There's your gear. Not too bad. A little better than your typical Airfix gear. And then this sprue's got our drop tanks. There's no, there's nothing on these. I don't feel any line detail on that. So we got a center line and a couple of wing tanks. Here's our crew. Those are pretty weak looking crew. There's our seats and our wheels. So pretty soft on detail. And we've got a black Airfix stand, a little bit different than the regular Airfix stand. This has got the slash through it, so I think this is the stand that was made specifically for the US. Yeah, it says an Airfix product, so maybe not. And this kit has ended up with 2 sets of clear parts, and as is typical with the 60s Airfix, these are thick as thick can be. So there's no framing or anything on these. Well, no, I take that back. On the windscreen there is some raised framing on that, but the rest of this would fit in with the fuselage. And I was mistaken on whether you could do these open or close. It doesn't really look like there's any tabs on there. So there you have it. That is the Airfix's take on the F-4 Phantom in the 60s. So we've seen a Revell kit from the same period. We've seen Hasegawa / Frog kit from this period, and now an Airfix. What is interesting is that Airfix chose to model the American versions of this plane. And so as far as other issues of this kit, Airfix got a lot of use out of this molding. Let's see, you've got the original 65 one from Airfix, this one here from 66 from Airfix Craftmaster. 71, Airfix added some new parts to be able to make the E and the J with the longer nose, the gun underneath the nose, 5 different sets of decals to be able to make the B, C, D, E, and J versions. In 71 also, MPC did an issue, part of their profile series with 3 different sets of decals on that one. Then 73, 74, 75, you got some new artwork, or new box of the 71 artwork, I should say, from Airfix. 76, MPC reissued it again, but this time with their photo box, and this one is when they were including crew figures as added bonus. So you got 6 crew figures to go with that kit. 77, Airfix released it with all new artwork. 79, they revised that artwork with this red and blue background that is kind of interesting. 79, you got a U.S. Airfix issue with the typical white box with the stripe and a photograph of a built model. Those built models in those pictures usually are not very good looking. And then 81, Airfix did a release similar to the 79 red and blue box. 82, MPC got back into it again with actual artwork again. Very, very nice looking actual artwork on that one. And then 83, Airfix did their 80s photo box style. And that was also issued by Airfix Gunze in Japan. That same 83 photo box was issued 87 in Japan. And then in 90 and 95, Airfix reissued again with that 77 artwork. And 95 also saw the first starter set of the Phantom being put out. And the 98 saw a Smithsonian issue from Airfix, also a starter set. And then the final issue from Airfix was in 99, similar to the 95 starter set box. So that was the end of the line for this particular molding. 2017 is when Airfix came out with all new tool for the Phantom, and that finally included an RAF Phantom, and supposedly that's one of the better kits if you're looking to mold an RAF version, because of course it's got different engines, different intakes, a number of different things that set it apart from the regular US versions that most of the previous kits that have been issued under RAF Phantom boxings were really just U.S. Phantoms with maybe different, afterburner cans on the back, and really that's all they did to make it different. So if you're looking to do an RAF Phantom, the 2017 mold from Airfix is probably your best choice for that kit. So there you have it. That is the history and the kit for the Airfix F-4B. If you have built one of these, absolutely tell us about it in the comment section. If you've got one sitting on your shelf, as always, take a picture of it, send it in so we can include it in a viewer build video. And we're working on the next one. It's been a while since our last one up there. We've got a lot of submissions, so it's taking a little bit of time to get that one put together, but we'll be getting that up soon here. So be looking out for that. Well, thanks for watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day.